Assalamu alaikum. Sulaiman Raheem here. Welcome. Let's slay some demons. Brothers and sisters and brothers, I'm presenting today a little information about David and Suleiman. Short presentation to try to explain the connection between the two, to identify the two, and show you how they are relevant to our situation. As I have been saying, you cannot understand the Bible unless you have the key to the Bible, which is the angel, which unlocks the Bible. If you have not that, you have no idea what the Bible is saying. It doesn't say what it appears to say. You have the sealed Bible and you have the unsealed Bible. The unsealed Bible would not occur until the last days when the angel key was broken, or the seals were broken, which revealed the angel key, which unlocked the Bible. Everyone up to now is guessing as to what it means. And as to now, no one has been accurate. The closest anyone has come is Elijah Muhammad. He had the spirit of the book. And he pointed out the fact that Exodus had not occurred in the past, is occurring now. That's very significant, very powerful. But you have many are out casting doubt on that because it reveals who they are. Because indeed Exodus is occurring now. It never occurred in the past. There's no evidence, absolutely none. Not one iota of evidence that ever occurred in the past. None. Zero. They've been digging around those deserts for thousands of years and found no evidence of anything remotely related to an Exodus. And in addition, Egypt was the oldest standing religion, oldest standing civilization, so to speak, have no record whatsoever of having ever had anyone there in bondage, and especially not for 400 years. And even by the false Israel's account, that they were in bondage for only 260 years by their account, which is false. And then if you read the scripture itself, when Jesus came to them and said, know the truth and the truth will make you free, they resisted that statement. They challenged it. They said, what are you talking about? We've never been in bondage to any man. Read it. It says, we've never been in bondage to any man. That's right there. Now that's during so-called Jesus time 2,000 years ago. Their bondage was supposed to have taken place prior to that. So they're telling him, we've never been in bondage to anyone. So then all of a sudden, right, they're claiming that story. But in the scripture, they said, we never been bondage to anyone, because it never occurred to them. It's unraveling right before your eyes, right here. But now there's, before your eyes, you have those that's throwing dust in your eyes, sand in your eyes. See, to keep from seeing what's right in front of you. We're living out Exodus. The God came, as Elijah said. Elijah taught for nearly 40 years, about 40 years, as Exodus says. We have been here 400 years, as Exodus says, in a foreign land, as Exodus says. We've been tormented and oppressed and raped and murdered for 400 years, as Exodus says. That's why God had to come to take us home, as Exodus said, and that was for our stated mission. And then Elijah, he raised Elijah, who was supposed to deliver that message. It's right there in Malachi. And he would, and in Exodus, and he would go about 40 years, and then he would be taken away. And then a liar would be in his place. A hypocrite, a liar. for about 40 years. That's what Exodus says. He would be Elijah's spokesman, as Exodus says. His name would be Aaron, as Exodus says. And he would do his dirt in Moses' absence, as Exodus says. He would turn the people away from the message Elijah Muhammad taught. He would try to turn their hearts back to Egypt, their captives, their oppressors, as Exodus says. And he would have his reign for about 40 years, 42 years, as Exodus says. It's all right there. And then at the end of that, Moses would return. He would put down Aaron, reveal him as a liar, slaughter all his followers and family, anyone associated with him. And then the torch would pass on to Joshua, who had been a follower of Elijah, one of the few that was left. Because after 40 years, most of the people that followed him, Elijah was gone. Joshua was one of the few that was left, that he was the one that would take us to the promised land, as Exodus says. What's wrong with that story? Absolutely nothing. It's happening right before your eyes. Only problem is the liar, Aaron, who would take and make the people a laughing stock before their enemies, a laughing stock before the enemies. Only thing is he would deny that story because he don't want you to know that he's Aaron. He would deny it. He would have all kinds of distractions, right? But the people would listen to him. They would love him. That's what it says. They listen to him. They follow him. Okay. So he would have to distract the people. So he would be the only one that would have a problem with that story. No one would have a problem with that story but him. He would say something's wrong with that story. He would try to get you away from that story. Get you into thinking about something else. Distract you. Because if you follow Exodus, just follow it, right? He sticks out like a sore thumb. You can't get around him if you follow Exodus. So he has to get you away from that story. Because no one has a problem with that story, would have a problem with that story, but him. So whoever this Aaron is, he would be the one that denied that part of the story. He would deny the rest of it, but he would sure deny that one. So he might even say, well, he's Joshua, and try to make someone else, pretend someone else is Aaron, but then who would be the Aaron that was running Elijah Muhammad's, and sitting in Elijah Muhammad's seat? Remember, he would be sitting in Elijah Muhammad's seat. So who would be the one sitting in Elijah Muhammad's seat for 40 some years deceiving the people? If it's not Farrakhan. He would be the only one to have a problem with any of this. See, he would have a problem. All the rest of it would be fine. Up until that point, then he's got a problem. Well, obviously, he would have a problem because he wouldn't admit that he's who he is, because he would be toast. So we're going to move in and go into this because we want to make the connection between David and Solomon, because it tells you that Joshua will be the one to take us into the kingdom. Joshua is another name for Jesus. It's just Joshua is the Hebrew equivalent of Jesus. Jesus is the Greek equivalent of Joshua. Or Yahweh, same thing. Same thing. Just different languages. And he would be the one, right? It tells you in the Injil that he would be the one that breaks the seal, so it'll be undeniable who he is. So it can be no question, because there's no one in heaven's earth you can't find. It won't be two people, it'll just be one person that could break the seals. He would break the seals, he would make it known he would break the seals, he would teach, right? The gospel, which is another name for Injil. He said that would be the book that would be teaching all the world, and then it would come not the Quran, not the Torah, right, but the gospel, Injil. But it has to be, seals have to be broken before it can be taught. It says only he, no one else. So you have anyone out here, you have some pretending, but I haven't heard anyone even pretend that much. I mean, they'll say, oh, Elijah never claimed to have broken the seals. Farad never claimed broken the seals. None of them have ever claimed to have broken the seals. Not any of them. Okay, so let's move on. You close that door. What? What are you doing over there? Okay, brothers, sisters, David and Suleiman. When you understand, well, let me do it this way. Once you unlock the scriptures, then you understand what all those things mean as far as who David is, Suleiman, who the God is, who the high priest is. Like it says in the Quran, all your disagreements and everything were made plain, right, at the end. Because in there it talks about Jesus saying, well, because Jesus is Suleiman. Suleiman is just son of man. It's a play on words. Son of man, Su-Oman. Su, son in Latin. O, man, son of man. Okay, now Suleiman was the son of David. David would be the king that was sit on the throne. See? So but Suleiman, son of man, is also Jesus. So he's referring to his father, right? He's referring to David. So you have to read the story of David, because David is the one that slays Goliath. Who is Goliath? False Israel. We know that's Farad. David is Farad. So Suleiman will be his spiritual son. He would be the high priest, because he would be the one that would set up the temple. He would build a temple, but David would run the kingdom. So you wouldn't understand that unless you broke the seals, had the key to the Injil. That's what that's all about. So you have David and Suleiman. Now, why you have these two? Because this stands out as opposed to all of history as we talk about the God. Because as I explained, it says all things were made new. So we had the situation, we have the conflict between Dr. Shabazz and Dr. Yaqub. See? They went two different directions. See? The tribe of Shabazz, they went in two different directions. So we have two sides of our brain, the analytical side and the spatial side. The spatial side keeps the analytical side in check. See? I'm not going to the creation, the creation engine, right? I'm not going to talk about that here. But I'm just pointing out. So as a result of Dr. Shabazz's process, the half of the brain that was spatial was enhanced. So now, instead of you having a spatial side, analytical side, right? The whole brain was spatial, 90%. It made a small percentage so you communicate with the analytical, but it was 90, but at least 90% of spatial. That means you increase the power of the spatial side, which is the creative side, dramatically. Because now your almost entire brain is used for creativity. So that would make that person the greatest, the wisest ever in regards to creativity. On the other side, they're analytical. So now Dr. Yakub went in that direction. See, so you hear analytical that was extremely technical, very technical, but very limited on the spatial side. As you get the stories of Odin and so forth, these type of mystical creatures that was bright in one eye and dark in the other one, Jajal. That's where those stories come from. It was bright in one eye, their technical eye, but it was real dark in their spatial side, in their spiritual side. That's what it's all about. Without going into all of that. So you have these two. So now you have these two beings, counter beings, one is extremely spatial, more than any god in history, and one is extremely technical. The greatest technical god in history. But it takes a spatial to keep the technical under control. Now, the technical, the analytical, right? You have those as 100%, and you have those that are like 90%. So you have enough spatial to keep the analytical under control. That's where Freud comes in, because he's extremely technical, the greatest technical god in the world. But he has enough spatial to keep it under control. And the same thing, you have the spatial, the greatest spatial, right, god ever, more powerful than the first, because almost 90% of the brain is just spatial creativity. That's what those two mean. So they work together. See? On the other hand, we have those that all spatial with no technical whatsoever. But we see those around. Those type of people are talking about, well, I'm gonna let Jesus do it. I'm gonna let the angels do it, because they told. I mean, they don't have any. They don't see any difference. They always want to pray all the time. So I want to pray because they don't see the difference between. They don't see the connection between spatial and technical. Because you can have a blueprint, but you need a technician to bring the blueprint into existence. You might have a B, but you need a technician to bring the B into is. So they totally divorced, and we can't use them. I'm not going into detail about that, but that gets back to all our creative activity. And then on the other hand, you got the extremely technical, has no spatial whatsoever. These are devils. They have no spatial whatsoever. Totally technical. They're very technical. See, they have no care for spatial, right? See, totally technical. See, so we say it right now. All this technical stuff, they're very technical, but have no understand the consequence, the pressures, side of the universe, and no understanding of that. See, so you got these two. You got one that sit right there. There's some prayer time. They don't have, and one the technician. See, the technician over here, he can't do anything unless he got a blueprint. He needs a blueprint to do something. He needs a blueprint. The technician needs a blueprint. He can't do anything without a blueprint. Once you get a blueprint, he can go to work. See, on the spatial side, right? He needs a technician to bring it to existence. He can make the blueprint, but he needs a technician to bring it to existence. So they need each other. So on one stream we have one that was just prayer time. See, he don't see that you praying ain't gonna do it. You need a technique, you have the ideas, you have to bring these ideas into existence. So we can't use them because they, and the other side technician, see, he's out there, but he don't realize, he needs the blueprint. See? So then you got the two extremes. And remember, the technician, he's rebellious by nature, analytical mind. So you got those two extremes. So you have to have something in the middle. to work this too. That's why Farad, extremely technical, but has enough spatial to keep it under control. So he's the greatest technician ever. So you need to, and he needs also to communicate back to spatial. So then you have the spatial, right? He has enough technical, right, to be able to communicate with the technician. So there you go. Those are the two. Those are the ones we want. Those are the ones we can't deal with. See? But you take America, for instance. America is the most technological place on the planet. That's why we're here. That's why they brought us here. Because without our creativity, they wouldn't be able to do it. Because you have Europeans all over the planet. They're not as technical as America is because they don't have us there to give creativity. I mean, they're technical, but they don't produce anything, compute all that stuff. I mean, they had to get that from our minds. They need us. That's the whole. That's the secret, right? The mystery, whatever. Why we here? Why here? Because here you got Dr. Yakub and Dr. Shabazz. They're battling out right here in America. There are two battling out here in America: the spatial mind, social, and the technical mind. And the spatial mind is trying to get the technical mind under control. See, but it's too rebellious. And it's using our creativity. So that's why America, all the stuff's coming out here, because they're extremely technical. But without blueprint, they couldn't do anything. So without us, they wouldn't be able to do anything. They're still be playing banjos. You got Russia, it's all Europeans there, right? So if being just European itself was superior, how come they're behind? How come all the other European countries behind America? Because they don't have us there. That's the whole point. Okay, I'm not going to belabor this. I just want to get to point those things out. See? Okay. There is our atomic bomb key, the Angel key. See, that's what we use to ignite our atom bomb, ATOMIC, our atomic bomb. That's the final explosion, right? Because the Bible is, we live under the Bible from Jesus 2,000 years ago, right? He bought the Bible, the closed Bible, right? And was powerful enough to blow away everything else. And we live under the umbrella, the shadow of that now. See? And then came the Quran. That was another explosion. See, they call it of mercy. But inside of what Jesus had, it was a bomb inside of that bomb that was more powerful than the first one because it needed that one to ignite the final explosion. Just like Cavis had their bomb. They had a fission bomb and a fusion bomb. The fission bomb explodes. That's the trigger that ignites the fusion bomb, which is 1,000 times more powerful. See? And that's what's happening. That's why we're in the center here. We're in the center here of Europeans. We're right in the center of their civilization, right here in America, right in the center, right? And we've been under extreme pressure. That explosion that exploded 500 years ago, right? Look how much pressure that put on us. See, that bomb put extreme pressure, that bomb exploded, and look what it did to us 500 years. But it put so much pressure on us that it made us turn us into diamonds. See, so we're going to ignite, it's enough pressure in it to ignite the final bomb. And this bomb exploding now is going to change the whole universe. See, in fact, it's changing things right now. I just want to point it out. Okay, let's move on. Okay. Now, this is what's happening here. You have Farad, a technical monster, if you want to call it that. You use that term. Technical genius. I mean, woo. There's never been a technical God that's more technical than him. No one can touch him. See, and his proof is that will, that most everybody's paying attention is aware of it now. All of the world's aware of it, and they can't touch it. They have no idea how to do it. There are many years they wouldn't be able to figure it out. They can't even come close. They have no idea. That's his proof, because he would be the one, as it talked about Ezekiel. Ezekiel gets hints of it. He'd be the only one that he was the only God that could produce that, because That's the proof that he's who he is, because he was able to produce that technical marvel. Only him. He's the only one who could produce that technical marvel called the mother plane or the wheel. He's the only one that could do it. That proved that he's the technician, that he's David. He's the God. So that's his proof. Because in the last days, they provided proof so you would not be misled unless you wanted to be misled. So they see evidence, what they want to call it, UFOs, come from another planet, call it, but it's there. It's there. See? And it took Elijah Muhammad to explain to you what it is. So it's up to you whether you want to reject it or accept it or whatever. But it's there. And no one can touch it. They know they can't come anywhere near it. That's his credentials. Because he now said, because they weren't even talking about UFOs before he showed up. You go back in 1800, nobody was talking about UFOs. Nobody couldn't imagine a UFO back then. They didn't start about UFOs until he produced the mother plane, because he came to America, it had already been built. And he told Elijah all about it. That's his credentials. So they want to believe in those, they want to live in the belief matrix, fine. Some people like living in the belief matrix, fine, stay there. Then it tells you that's how you identify him, because no one could do it but him. Produce that technological marvel. On the other hand, on the spatial side, right, the only one, you have another marvel. You got a book that no one could touch. No one. This says no one on the heavens, earth, or on earth. No one could touch this book. No scientist, anybody could touch it. Not even the God could touch it, because not even the God, even Farah couldn't touch it, because he's technical. But this spatial, it says this book is a book as powerful as that book there is the atom bomb. Farah also has atom bombs. He got physical atom bombs, right? Suleiman has spiritual atom bombs, pressure waves. All bombs are pressure, but pressure waves that will change reality. See? So he's the son. You say, well, how is the son more powerful than the father? I never said that. If you have a general and you send your general out to war, you may not know anything about war, but your general does. So is he more powerful than you? He's your servant. He may be your son. I'm Farad's servant, not more powerful than him, right? See, but like as a general can do something that the president could not do, right? It's just like, someone can sing, someone may not sing. So just because they can sing, they still may be my servant. So I won't sing, I'll send them to sing. See? So Suleiman, right, would have the power to change reality, because he's the only one who could ignite that engine, the atom bombs. The only one could ignite it. That's what it tells you. Now, anything I'm making up, that's what it tells you. So either you believe the scripture or you don't. Because the problem with you have Farrakhan is, if you believe the scriptures, you have to reject him. If you accept him, then you have to reject the scripture. Because nothing that BS he's talking about can survive scrutiny, can survive it. Because he can't find scripture to back up that crap he's talking about. See, same with Silas, all of them. See, they're all jealous because now the truth is here, because they've been living off of you for 40-some years. Now the truth's here, and they're jealous because they didn't get it. And secondly, they're afraid because if it grows, they know what's going to happen to them. Because they know it's the truth. They know it's the truth. But the truth puts it into them. Because they've been lying, and they're not going to be forgiven for that. Because they've been lying. They should have told people in the beginning, right? Because read what it says in Exodus. They were condemned because they gave the credit to themselves. They didn't get credit to the one coming after. They didn't get credit to the God. They get credit to themselves. See? And they use that to live off the people. So you have two gods on the, that's what it says Habakkuk. See, they just throw it there, try to say one is devil, one is Satan, and one is God, whatever. See, that's because they trying to placate Sunnism. There's only one God, only one God. There's only one God. Right? It's only one you, but you're made up of billions of cells, aren't you? Why you say the Quran keeps saying we? So there's only one God, then why keep saying we? Who is this we? It's like one nation of Islam, right? That means only one person. We have a lot of people. First, you understand the nation of God, the nature of God. Anyway, that's what's happening. Because the original nation is God. Maker, owner, creator of the planet Earth, God. If you God of the universe, it means you God of everything. It's original. So Farrakhan says he's trying to twist it back up to please the Sunni, to placate the Sunnism. Well, they're talking about the original God at the beginning. See, Muhammad told me the original man, talking about all of us, past and present. But he tried to make, oh no, that's the only one in the beginning. See, and you let him get away with that stuff. Because he played with words. We believe in the originator. But he don't say, we are the originator. See, we the children of the originator. See, play games with you. That's not Elijah Muhammad taught. We are the originator. This is the form the originator takes right now. He's playing games with words because he's trying to placate Sunnis. See? So we supposed to be, why are we giving thanks to the originator? Why are we praying to the originator? He's 76 trillion years dead. So imagine we're praying to Jesus. We are the originator. He wants, ask him, who is the originator? Is that us? Or is that the person that originally started everything, according to him? You play on words, and because that's what, or when you go over into the Middle East, that's what he playing. Oh no, man, we don't believe in we the gods. We don't believe that Fra is a god. He believes that God may have sent him, right? He's a wise man or something, but the originator, he's Allah, the one that started everything. The originator of heavens and earth. That's the one that's been way back in the beginning, not us. He can fool you with that BS, and because you want to be fooled. Anybody's fooled by Farrakhan right now is fools or people that want to be fools. See, that's the game. We give praise to the originator. Who is the originator? Oh, the one back 76 trillion years. So he play game with you. So he get along with him. Because that's what get about Balaam's ass, see? Because he was afraid of the Sunni. So he wouldn't obey Farad, if you understand that story. See? This is Elijah Muhammad speaking.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us of a giant mother plane that is made like the universe, spheres within spheres. White people call them unidentified flying objects. Ezekiel, in the Old Testament, saw a wheel that looked like a cloud by day but a pillar of fire by night. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that wheel was built on the island of Nippon, which is now called Japan, by some of the original scientists. It took $15 billion in gold at that time to build it. It is made of the toughest steel. America does not yet know the composition of the steel used to make an instrument like it. It is a circular plane, and the Bible says that it never makes turns. Because of its circular nature, it can stop and travel in all directions at speeds of thousands of miles per hour. He said there are 1,500 small wheels in this mother wheel, which is a half mile by a half mile, 800 m by 800 m. This mother wheel is like a small human-built planet. Each one of these small planes carry 3 bombs. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said these planes were used to set up mountains on the earth. The Quran says it like this: we have raised mountains on the earth lest it convulse with you. How do you raise a mountain, and what is the purpose of a mountain? Have you ever tried to balance a tire? You use weights to keep the tire balanced. That's how the earth is balanced, with mountain ranges. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that we have a type of bomb that, when it strikes the earth, a drill on it is timed to go into the earth and explode at the height that you wish the mountain to be. If you wish to take the mountain up a mile, 1.6 kilometers, you time the drill to go a mile, 1.6 kilometers, in and then explode. The bombs these planes have are timed to go 1 mile, 1.6 kilometers, down and bring up a mountain 1 mile, 1.6 kilometers, high, but it will destroy everything within a 50 square mile, 130 square kilometers, radius. The white man writes in his above top secret memos of the UFOs. He sees them around his military installations like they are spying. That mother will is a dreadful looking thing. White folks are making movies now to make these planes look like fiction, but it is based on something real. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that mother plane is so powerful that with sound reverberating in the atmosphere, just with a sound, she can crumble buildings.
So that's Elijah Muhammad on this mother plane. So just a little information for you. So he got that from Farad. And let's be clear. See, they don't believe those lessons. They don't understand those lessons. So most of them they don't read them, they don't study them, disregard them. They don't believe those lessons. But one lesson it says about a cracked atom. A cracked atom was broke into, I believe, 6 million parts. How much does a cracked atom weigh? See, they was talking about cracked atoms. He told Elijah Muhammad about in the 30s. That's before they had any notion of cracked atom. That wasn't any of their books, any of the literature. They had no knowledge of it whatsoever. But Faraz talking about it. He says, how much does a cracked atom weigh? So they don't understand the lesson. They describe the lesson. But when you say, because they versed the science, that's why you can't just forget about these people. Not our people, we got to raise them up because they're the wheels within the wheels. But weight and force is the same thing. It's just when you're talking about in the sense of gravity, you call it weight. But weight and force is exactly the same thing. So if you could also say, how much force does a cracked atom weigh? Once you understand that, when you crack an atom, I believe it says 6 million parts, if I'm not mistaken, right? That means you have this little cracked atom so small you can't see, but it breaks 6 million parts and you spread out like, that's an explosion. And it breaks out at the speed of light, like photons moving 186,000 miles per second. That's how fast light moves. So you got 186 little particles, whatever you want to call them, moving at 186,000 miles per second. That's a nuclear explosion. He's talking about a nuclear explosion at a time when they had no concept of the idea. The first time they split an atom was in the late 30s, long after Farad was gone, and this after they took and seized all of this information that he had left with Elijah. That's a fact. That is a fact. So did they get the idea from Farad? Because he's the first one who's talking about it. He was talking about nuclear explosion, splitting atoms, and things like that before it was even in mind's concept of caving. They had no idea, no thought about it whatsoever. Early 30s, this is when he gave to Elijah. So he knew about it. So that means he knew about it before he made Elijah, early 30s. He was telling him then. But when did he write this stuff? So that shows you that he knew. Nobody was talking about atomic bombs. Look at all those old movies, Flash Gordon kind of stuff. They weren't talking about death rays and stuff like that. No concept of a split atom bomb, nothing whatsoever, no idea of it. But if Farad's talking about it, it's writing a lesson. The lesson is there, we have it. So that tells you he has the power to do what he's talking about he's doing. That means he has the knowledge, he has superior knowledge, and he had knowledge of atomic bombs. So that gives credibility that he has built this plane, even though we see it all over. So we know it's there. Now you see it more and more. Now people are actually taking pictures of it now. The government's starting to release information about it. Russia and China is not so ambivalent, not so opaque about it, because they admit it. That they said they have fast jet up at these things, and it was destroyed. The fastest, China and Russia said their fastest jets of these things, and they were just were destroyed. They won't tell the Americans, man, we're the greatest country in the world. No power can touch us. We can destroy God. That's their idea. And they were saying, same. If you go back and watch the Titanic, right, when they built that, the guy builder says, even God can't sink this. See, when you start messing like that, and what happened? God sunk it. So now we got the powerful, we got time on our, because it says in the intro, they're prepared to make war against God. So now they ask us about the, ooh, okay, we'll see about that one, because you don't know who God is. You don't want to mess with God right now. And God is about to wake up on your ass. And when he wakes up on your ass, what you think is going to happen to you? It says that it'd be more tolerable for what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah than what's going to happen to you. You eat your own flesh. You may drink your own blood. You eat your own children. What's going to happen to you is going to be like you. And you think you should never touch us. Should never touch us. Should never have touched us. And as it says, the Quran tells you, you'll be punished like no nation was ever punished before. Because when we get finished with you understand? No nation on this planet, no other tribe on this planet will ever F with us again. Even think about it. If they think about it, they'll blow their own brains out. Just even because they'd be afraid the thought even come in their head. Because we realize that they hear that thought. And then once get a hold to them. You mess with the wrong people. So this is what Ezekiel's talking about. This is his will, the way he described it. I'm not getting all the details, just enough, right? See, but it's not the mother plane. The will he's talking about has some conceptuality in there, but it's talking about the wheels within wheels. Our nation's wheels within wheels. When you have a child, his mind is always thinking about universal. That means his universal mind. He's gonna be a universal leader. Another child, he's interested in just dealing with, the community right there. He's going to be a community leader. But he's going to be good at it because all his mind focused on that. But the other guys, oh man, all he do is, because when I was a kid, my father used to get upset. Because I was reading science, comic book stuff about science stuff. Man, why are you reading that stuff all the time? He used to take and throw this stuff away, tear it up. He didn't want me reading that stuff. He said, my mind's way out there somewhere. Because it had universal mind. That's the things that interest me. It took me years and years and years for my mind to calm down. Because what happened? A tree takes longer to grow than a plant. But it lives longer and it covers more, was more, produced fruit and everything. So he was upset about that. He thought I was going to be, some kind of egghead or something with him. Maybe some people might think I am. But when you see a child, then don't discourage that because that means he's a bigger circle. He's a wheel within wheels. But if you got another child, he's going to focus on, don't get upset about that because he's going to be a genius at it. Because we need wheels within wheels. We need, just like KV has his little thing at mayors and governors and senators and science, whatever, you got levels of, presidents and all that kind of stuff. That's what you need to make you have a body, right? You have your feet, your toes, your fingernails, all these different things, they all work together. See? So if you see a child, don't try to make him be a bigger wheel because then you're going to cripple him. But you try to change him from who he is. Do not change who you are. Who you are is made, you'll be good at it. And we need you. And they tell you, oh man, you society, you be whatever. Yeah, you can be whatever you want to be, but they want to try to change you to something else, okay? You need to be a doctor. Well, he ain't a doctor. You might force him to be a doctor. And he'll be as long as you pushing him, but once you're not pushing him anymore, he's going to revert back to going back out there doing this thing, right? Whatever he wanted to do to begin with. You try to identify where your child, the level he's on, and then encourage it. Strengthen him on it. Because he's going to be good at it. Because we need garbage collectors. You think we don't need garbage collectors in hereafter? You're going to still produce garbage. You're still going to go to the bathroom, ain't you? So people may clean toilets and all that kind of stuff, right? We need those people. And you don't look down on those people. You don't look down on your behind, do you? If you do, right, you're going to have hemorrhoids. You're going to be in trouble. And when you get hemorrhoids, you ain't gonna say, hey man, well, I got hemorrhoids, help with that in my butt. I don't care, man. I'm tired of my butt being having hemorrhoids, right? You're gonna write to the doctor, get that cured because your brain gets stuck. It goes into idle once you get hemorrhoids, right? Until you get that straightened out. See, then you can concentrate on all your big ideas after you get the hemorrhoids taken care of. Be real, brothers and sisters. You know, just looking down on this. Are you stupid? You know, putting the women down and looking down on that brother. Hey, that brother, he's stupid, man. You always pick up garbage. Okay, hey, brother, when you see a fool doing that, looking down on you because don't pick up his garbage no more. See, don't pick his garbage up no more. You'll get the message before long. See, you'll get the message. See, that you just as important as the guy who was fixing his electricity or the doctor. See, that's that devil thinking that throw us against each other. Oh man, don't look, man. Your butt stink, man. Don't pay attention to your butt. Okay. Oh man, don't stinking toes, man. Don't pay attention to your toes. Okay. Okay. All right. Good luck with that one.
Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. And this was their appearance, they had the likeness of a man. And every one had 4 faces, and every one had 4 wings. And their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. And they had the hands of a man under their wings on their 4 sides, and they 4 had their faces and their wings. Their wings were joined one to another, they turned not when they went every one straight forward. As for the likeness of their faces, they 4 had the face of a man, and the face of a lion, on the right side, and they 4 had the face of an ox on the left side, they 4 also had the face of an eagle.
Lion.
Thus were their faces,
Eagle,
and their wings were stretched upward.
Calf.
2 wings of every one were joined
Face
one
of
to
man.
another, and 2 covered their bodies.
There you go. That's the scripture he gave. That's the angel key, brothers and sisters. It's not the mother plane. See, that's no Farrakhan. I mean, he don't know anything. The man is dumb, but he's charismatic. See, because he tells you what you want to hear, right? And demons, he's attracting demons. He's a demon magnet. That's what we want. See, that's what we want. So, and finally, I want to say, these people, they're your enemies. They're sent to destroy you. The demons, right? That's their last attack on you. People that look like you, walk like you, can talk like you, but they're not you. And Farrakhan is the lead chief demon. Read the demon-possessed story in the book of Mark. So that's something you need to understand. Okay. Therein. It's therein. See, this angel explosion is going to be rid of them totally, completely. There'll be no traces of them whatsoever left. See. Well, there will be a hell for a period of years. The Quran talks about it. It says there'll be a hell. It says they'll be in it and they'll eat refuge and garbage and drink urine. Because we're going to gather them all together. We're pushing as far north as possible, right? Where they revert back to the beast they are. And that's where we're going to dump refuge. They'll be in refuge there. Right? And the thing is that because the universe is being renewed, we're all being regenerated because we're getting energy waves. Every 50 years, now we're experiencing an energy wave. We got last one in the 60s, so what happened in the 60s was dramatic transformation. 20s, 50 years before that, right? The so-called civil war that broke out chains, a physical chain, then the mental chain, then the social chain. This is going to break all chains. And that means we're going to be used, it says, talking about the sun, it says the Son of Righteousness will rise with healing in his wings. That is talking about Suleiman, the messenger of the covenant. See, it's nobody after Elijah. Well, why they call the one after Elijah messenger of the covenants? Right? Malachi says he will come to Elijah's temple, the messenger of the covenants. So he's a messenger. Oh, he's a well. What about him? Who is that one then? See, he's gonna clean it up. Clean up whose mess? He's gonna clean Elijah's mess, or the one that took over after Elijah, Farrakhan's mess? Messenger of the covenant said, "Right, healing's wing." That means you're gonna be rejuvenated, but they're gonna be rejuvenated too. That's why I said they'll be so healthy, right, that every time their skins are burned off, Allah will renew their skins. They'll be so healthy that they'll heal up fast no matter what. You don't want to be like that in hell. You don't be in hell where you can eat manure, but your body will heal you from it. It won't kill you. You can drink urine, but it won't kill you because you'll be so healthy. You want to be in hell? That's that hell they're going to go into. That's hell they're going to. See, be so healthy that, and it says they'll be so healthy that their sexual desire will never be quenched. I mean, Viagra will have nothing on what this going to happen to them. It said that's why Jesus said, it says that their worm will never die. It means their sexual arousal will be like a rabbit, right? It's just constantly going, and it can't stop. You see rabbits, they chase all the rabbits around constantly. That's all they do, and that's where they will be. And they'll be chasing their women around, and remember, all they got is eating refuse and manure and carrying on. So they're eating each other. So they'll be chasing. The desire will be totally on steroids, right? And so they're chasing the women all the time. The women don't want to be caught because they get caught, they get eaten. They be having sex with them while they're eating them. And the women, they want to eat. They're gonna be wild too. And if they survive and get pregnant, right? They're gonna drop their baby just like the animals do. They keep going. That's the hell they're in. They're going to. And some of you, because some of you, the enemies that's fighting against this, you're gonna be right in there with them. And Adam Muhammad talked about that. Well, no, not quite with them. With some of you, the demons will be with them because you're really them anyway. You're just black-faced devils. So you're going to be right with them anyway. But it's talking about these scriptees and whatever, these time makers. Read about what Elijah Muhammad said about them. He says they're going to be this person that rises called a tyrant. Farrakhan, I talk about him, he does it. He says, because you resisted and fought against it, you're going to be putting on a tyrant. You're going to be in a different hell than the cave you'll be in. But it says, you're going to be under oppression worse than we went through slavery. They call him the tyrant. That's like Mama talked about him. See? And it says, you will never come out of it. But your children will allow to come out of it. But they will not come out of it. You know, Christine says they will be tattooed. Your children you won't be allowed to come out of it. You're going to die in that condition. Right? In servitude. Call them the tyrant. You'll be given over to a tyrant. You'll be in servitude the rest of your life. And it's servitude worse than what we went through. But your children, because that's your prayer, because you rejected the hereafter, you rejected the promise, rejected all that, because you ran after the devil. You served the devil, and you worked, and you served the devil to help stop this, and you wouldn't accept it. You rejected it. So you broke the covenant. But it says your agreement with death will be a broken. Not talking about you. See, that's these other ones that the 85% that y'all got deceived and got them trying to get them reparations. That's talking about your agreement with death because you're trying to give them reparations, trying to get them to sell out their inheritance. But it says that's going to be broken. That agreement will be annulled. See, you're not going to get away with getting them to trick them out of selling their inheritance because that's going to be annulled because we know the condition they're in because they submitted. So we can't blame them, for going into a cesspool and they come out stinking. All they need is a bath. So that's going to be cleaned up. They're going to wake up to that in a minute. But you that was putting them in there and knew better and was fighting against this message, you'll be delivered over to a tyrant. And if the children that you have, says they'll be tattooed. And they'll be checked to see if we can let them out. But if they come out, they'll come out tattooed. That they were children of you. They were your children. And their children be tattooed. They always, forever, they'll always be known that these were the children of the resistors. Farrakhan ain't talking about that one, is he? I'm telling you about it. Okay, brothers and sisters. Understand, Farad, he's the God. He will sit on the throne. Throne of David, that's him, right? Suleiman's high priest. See? He was set, David was set on the throne of Jerusalem, the high priest set on the throne of Mecca. See? David is the God. Suleiman is the high priest, two together. See? One will rule, right? But the other one deal with the space social side. And you cannot come into the kingdom because it's Suleiman who determines getting into the kingdom. They say you can't come into the Father except by me. The only way you come through is you have to be in the Lamb's Book of Life. So he controls who gets in. But once they get in, they're ruled by Farad. Period. That's it. That tells you that. That's what scriptures tell you. You have to be in the book. It says when he comes to deliver, he delivers those who's in the book. You see? Because if you deny the Son, that's it. It says you can't come into the Father except by me. So the Father said, if you deny the Son, I don't want you. He said, this is my Son who I'm well pleased. So he's totally pleased with what I'm doing because I got the angel. You may not like it, but he's pleased. This is my Son who I'm well pleased. And you only come to me through him. If you don't accept my Son, I don't want you. There it is. So if Farrakhan's the Son, show him this. Have him show you the angel where he broke the seals. Have him show it to you. If he says it's broke, have him show it to you. If Elijah broke it, then those tell you Elijah broke. Tell him to explain the seals to you. Don't come to tell, oh, he's a dragon. What does the 7 heads on the dragon mean? Who's the 7 horns? Where's the 7 crowns? What does that mean? And why is it 3 of them that like that? Why is a dragon like that? Why is one beast another beast like that? You know, tell them explain all this stuff. They can't. Tell them explain it. See? I can explain. I put it out there for you to study. I'm not hiding it. It says in the script, do not hide it. It says, don't seal it back up. Don't hide it. Because the time is now. So if they got it, tell them, hey, you got your cards, show them. I'm showing my cards. Okay, brother, so it's up to you. Because the thing is, remember the Quran says, there's no skill if it lies back. If you don't reject, that's no problem. It's not hurting us. The few that make it, the few that accept, those are the ones we'll take. Because after all, when you think about it, all the people on the planet right now came from only a few families. Because all the families got purged as time goes on. Remember the believers? They said, no, only 9. They said, according to the Bible, only what they understand the Bible. All the people on earth right now is only came from 9 people. So what happened to all the millions that was before that? So if you reject, that's no problem. How in the world you think that's going to slow up anything? So if only 9 people make it, that's and hereafter, all of this sentence will be from them. You just be one of those that go. Because once the flood comes, you'll understand that. Because according to Noah's Ark, right? The millions of people that didn't make it get into the ark, right? They understood as they was taking their last breath. They understood the truth then. It was too damn late for them. And then you had Noah's son, right? Oh, I'm smart. I'm going to go to high mountain. Now, Allah told Noah to build this gigantic ark, spend 800 years doing it, when he could just told him to go to high mountain. See? And then according to Christians, well, God just picked up everybody. So why he just like Noah? He just lift everybody up with some spiritual thing? Or, you know, brothers and sisters, religion is all BS. The only true religion is only one. In fact, there's no such thing as religion. That's all a lie. It's illusion. Mathematics is what it's all about. Allah is mathematics. Mathematics is everything. Islam is mathematics. Mathematics is Islam. Period. So all this other stuff is just BS. Deceive you, right? Take you away from that. See, because they want to destroy you. Because they have never want you to get back into power again. Because if you get back in power again, they got to answer for what they done. Because every nation has had their foot on you one way or the other. Everybody's around your enemies. Even your brother Ishmael, the Arabs, they're your brothers. And they're against you. Everybody's against you. Only person with you is Farad, because he came to honor that agreement. Like he said, he said he was going to honor it, and he came to enforce it. Elijah, who he raised, he loved you. He gave everything for you. But God saved him from death. But he gave everything for you. And Suleiman, the high priest is going to take you back home. He's the messenger of the covenant. Talking about Malachi. Tell him, explain who that is. They ain't talking about the covenant. They reject the covenant. That's it, brothers and sisters. Everybody else your enemy. See, Suleiman and those with him, those are the ones that love you. Those are the ones that are your friend. They ask for anything. It's a free gift. We ain't taking anything from you. So what you got a problem with? We ain't trying to change you. We ain't trying to take your money. We ain't trying to control you. We love you like you are. We want you to be your better self. We want to take you home. We're not caring about how you dress and what you look like right now. When you know better, you'll do better. We're here to get you home, brothers and sisters. We're out there. Somebody drowning. Hey man, did you pay your rent? Did you say your slot this morning? No, you got in there rescue them. You worry about that crap later on. Oh man, that sister, she ain't dressing right. Well, you got a lot of sisters out here dressing right and they demons. And I wouldn't spend 5 seconds around them. You got Farrakhan's people, they look dressed real nice and everything. They all demons. Look how nice Farrakhan dressed, all pretty. And he's a chief demon. It tells you don't worry about that stuff. Get home. When you get home, you think better, you do better. You get home, all that stuff will work out. We get you home first. That's what we're trying to get you home, brothers and sisters. We ain't worried about that stuff. Because when you get home and you get your mind back, then you'll do right. When your mind's right, you'll do right. That's what we're worried about. Take care of this. Islam comes from within outward, not outward inward. Because if you force on somebody, the Quran tells you no compulsion in religion. So you force somebody, right? When you stop forcing it, then they're going to revert. And that's how Elijah Muhammad left. When he left, they reverted because it was forced on them. We're not blaming Elijah Muhammad. He was supposed to do it because he was trying to prepare you for this time, right? That's when this final exposure take place, so you survive it. So as I was said, he said the first resurrection would be form, no spirit. That was his job, to get you formed, to show you what it looks like, to show you what you go into, to get some idea of what it's supposed to be like. See, but Jesus didn't want anything to do with Elijah's followers, nothing. Didn't want to do anything with them. He resisted. He didn't want them because he knew they would corrupt the new ones with their BS, their scriptures and stuff. Oh, Elijah, last ones was alive. Prove that in an instant, right? Or Elijah, he's the eternal leader of the Nation of Islam. He never said anything like that. That's bull. That's not true. You see, and all the stuff they with all this crazy stuff they're talking about. And then Farrakhan just totally distorted it inside. So man, that guy, he's way out there someplace. And I'm gonna say this last thing too. Jamaicans, those are our brothers out there, Haitians, all they are brothers, but they are not they are not inheritors of the Abrahamic covenant. Abrahamic covenant, which those who did the whole job. When you sign a contract, you got to fill your part of the job. They didn't fill that part of the contract. They rebelled before the 400 years was completed. So we set them out as brothers. We bring them in with us if we want to, if they make it home. But the point is, Elijah, see, you got Saul's trying to make like it involves them, even Farrakhan. Nope, it doesn't. They broke their part of the agreement. It involves the 40, the one stayed here in America, the Central, and Farrakhan's part of that because he's from Trinidad. That Abraham covenant does not cover him. It covers Elijah Muhammad. It covers the Levites because they came up with us, and the reason it covers them to a certain extent, but they're Levites. But they suffered what we suffered. That's why it says they're part of it. They're adopted tribe because they suffered. They went through, but they suffered, so they're going to get rewarded. But it doesn't cover the Jamaicans, doesn't cover the Haitians, because they rebelled. They didn't go through the 40 years we went through. They are brothers, but the contract doesn't cover them. It's like you go out and make contracts just because your cousin or whatever, they don't get part of the contract because they're your relative. They got to fulfill their part of the agreement also. Only ones fulfill that part. That's why I said mess to the black man in America. It doesn't say mess to the black man in Jamaica. It doesn't say mess to the black man in Hawaii, Haiti. It says mess to the black man in America. That's who I came to, period. Understand that. So don't let them fool you about that. Now, oh boy, and let me say this last. Oh boy, they they got this thing on here. Oh man, then they got Chinese coming into the nation of Islam. Oh, we welcome this Chinese. Okay. See, before long, right? They be putting FY uniform on dogs and pigs and everything else. They put it on Mexicans. Mexicans were slave owners. Most of them are demons because the Mexicans, the Chinese, the Spanish came over here. They came over here. They raped the women. They bring their women over here. That means most of these Mexicans and all, they got light because they were darker than us. They got light because they're descendants of of Spanish. From the sea, that means that makes them demons. They're really Spanish. It's dark skinned Spanish. That makes them demons. And he put them on, because Ishmael, that was his marijuana buddy. He said he was a marijuana freak with his child. That was his marijuana buddy. So now he's back there. Farrakhan put him in this position. So now he bring him in here, and he gonna put an FY uniform on him. We paid for that. We suffered. We earned that. Just like if you go out and tell you're a SEAL, and they catch you putting on a SEAL uniform and you never earned it, you know what they do to you? Because they earned it. They went through all the take to become a SEAL or a Ranger or whatever, a Green Beret. They went to they earned it. But these clowns didn't earn any of that. And Farrakhan just put anybody comes in, right, and say, I love Farrakhan, I'd be a pig, Miss Piggy. See? And they put a full uniform on him. That's blasphemy. That's how sick he is. That's how much respect he has for Elijah Muhammad did. Anybody, just come in. Now Chinese. And they despise you. They say, they despise you. You can't go to China, you go to China. They despise. And now they put them on Chinese. How the hell that's an MDCFY? And they, oh man, we celebrate man now. He's a universal man now. He's going to save the whole planet. Well, save your ass. We say yes for that damn disembowelment. That's what said you be punished. Boy, Farrakhan's not going away. He's talking about he's finished. But he's not going to die. I told you that years ago he's not going to die. Because he got another punishment coming. He got universal humiliation, which will have to take place this year. Then he's going to be humiliated. There will be no doubt. And all his people with him. Okay, bro, says, Assalamu alaikum.